Jenna lived in a small Jenna lived in a small, quiet village named Grayton. In Grayton, everything was a shade of gray. The sky was pale gray, the houses were stone gray, and even the flowers seemed to bloom in soft gray petals. Jenna had lived there all her life, but she often felt a strange longing for something more. One cool morning, Jenna was walking near the edge of the village where the old forest began. The trees there were tall and dark gray, like shadows. As she walked, a bright flash caught her eye. It was a small bird, but unlike any she had ever seen. Its feathers were not gray. They were a brilliant, fiery red. The bird chirped once, a clear, sharp sound, and then flew into the forest. Jenna's heart beat fast. She had to know more. She ran home to her grandfather, who was the oldest person in Grayton. "Grandfather," she said, breathing heavily, "I saw a bird, and it was red." Her grandfather looked up, his kind gray eyes widening. "A red bird? That is very rare, Jenna. It is a sign." "A sign of what?" she asked. "A sign of color," he said softly. "Long ago, our world was full of color, but we forgot how to see it. The colors went to sleep. That bird is one of the color keepers. They live far from here, in a place called Chroma Valley." Jenna knew what she had to do. "I want to find Chroma Valley," she declared. Her grandfather smiled. "It is a long and difficult journey, but if you are determined, I will help you prepare." The next day, Jenna packed a small bag with bread, cheese, a bottle of water, and a warm gray cloak. Her grandfather gave her a simple map, drawn on old paper. "Follow the path through the gray woods," he said. "Then cross the Whispering River and find the forgotten hills. Chroma Valley lies beyond them." With a deep breath, Jenna stepped onto the path leading into the gray woods. The forest was silent. The only sounds were her own footsteps on the gray leaves. She walked for hours, feeling a little lonely and scared. Just as she was about to rest, she heard a rustling. A small, gray rabbit hopped onto the path. It looked at her with gentle eyes. "You look lost, traveler," the rabbit said. "In this world, animals could talk." "I am looking for Chroma Valley," Jenna replied. "Ah, the land of color," the rabbit said. "The woods are easy to get lost in. Follow the moss on the trees. It grows thicker on the side facing the path to the river." Jenna thanked the rabbit and followed its advice. Soon, she heard the sound of rushing water. She reached the Whispering River. The water was a shimmering silver gray, and it seemed to murmur secrets. But the river was wide and looked deep. Jenna saw no bridge. She sat down, unsure what to do. "Need some help?" a voice croaked. A large gray frog sat on a stone nearby. "I need to cross the river," Jenna said. "The stones are the key," said the frog. "Look carefully." Jenna looked at the water. She saw large, flat stones just below the surface, making a path across the river. They were almost invisible against the gray water. Carefully, she stepped onto the first stone, then the next, balancing with her arms out. The water whispered around her boots. Step by step, she made it to the other side. Now she faced the forgotten hills. They were not mountains, but a series of steep, rolling hills covered in gray grass. They looked tiring. Jenna began to climb. The climb was hard, her legs ached, and the air felt thin. She stopped many times to drink water. From the top of the third hill, she saw something that made her gasp. In the distance, between two tall hills, there was a narrow opening, and from that opening, she could see a tiny, tiny speck of something that was not gray. It was a vivid, lush green. Her tiredness vanished. She ran, stumbled, and climbed her way towards the opening, a narrow pass between the hills. Finally, she reached it and stepped through. Jenna could not believe her eyes. She stood at the top of a slope, looking down into Chroma Valley. It was like a dream. The grass was a bright emerald green. Thousands of flowers bloomed in explosions of yellow, purple, pink, and orange. The trees had leaves of rich green, and some had fruits of red and gold. A river of sparkling blue wound through the valley. The sky above was a clear, brilliant azure. Tears filled Jenna's eyes. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. She ran down the slope, her gray cloak flying behind her. She touched the green grass, then a soft yellow flower. She cupped water from the blue river in her hands. The world was alive with color. As she explored, the red bird from the forest appeared, landing on a branch. "You found us," it sang. "It's wonderful," Jenna whispered. "Color is meant to be shared," the bird said. "But you must carry it inside you. To take it back to Grayton, you must fill your heart with what you see." Jenna didn't quite understand, but she spent the whole day in the valley. She watched the sunset, which painted the sky in stripes of orange, pink, and deep purple. She fell asleep under a tree full of red fruits. The next morning, she knew she had to return home. She felt sad to leave, but also full of a new feeling: joy. She said goodbye to the red bird and the colorful valley and began her journey back. The trip back seemed shorter. When she finally walked out of the gray woods and saw Grayton, her village still looked dull and gray. Her heart sank a little. Had it all been for nothing? She went straight to her grandfather's house. When he opened the door, he stared. He didn't say hello. He just looked at her with wonder. "Jenna, your eyes," he said softly. "What about them?" she asked. "They are blue," he said. "A beautiful, bright blue, like the summer sky." Jenna ran to a small mirror on the wall. He was right. Her eyes, once a plain gray, were now a sparkling clear blue. She laughed. She understood what the bird meant. She couldn't bring the physical color back in a bottle, but she had brought it inside her. Excited, Jenna ran through the village, telling everyone about her journey, about green grass and blue rivers and red birds. At first, people just nodded politely, still seeing only gray. But as they listened to her stories, really listened, a strange thing began to happen. The baker, looking at Jenna's bright, excited eyes, suddenly noticed his bread. "My bread! It's a warm golden brown," he exclaimed. The gardener, inspired by her description of flowers, looked at her rose bush. "The buds, they are a deep, soft pink," she cried. One by one, the people of Grayton began to see color. It started small, a hint of brown here, a touch of pink there. But as they shared Jenna's story and remembered the idea of color, more and more color returned to their world. The gray did not disappear, but it became a background for the beautiful colors that now lived with them. Jenna learned an important lesson. Color wasn't just something you saw with your eyes. It was a feeling of wonder, a story to be shared, and a way of seeing the world with an open heart. And because of her long, simple journey, the world of Grayton was never truly gray again.